Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the most powerful names in Hollywood and a man whose career has spanned over 3 decades, has finally let slip a truth that he kept guarded for years. A revelation so unexpected that even those closest to him were left stunned, because the world has always seen him as a professional who maintains his composure, avoids scandal as much as possible, and rarely allows his personal conflicts to spill into the public domain. But in a shocking twist, it has now come to light that there is one co-star, one actress who he truly cannot stand, someone who has haunted him since the earliest days of his superstardom, and when the name was revealed, fans were left speechless because Leonardo DiCaprio has finally admitted that he truly hates Claire Danes, the actress who played Juliet opposite his Romeo in Baz Luhrmann's 1996 cult classic Romeo plus Juliet, a film that skyrocketed both of them into iconic status and cemented Leonardo's position as the heartthrob of the 90s. Yet behind the cameras, the reality was far from the passionate romance we saw on screen, because according to DiCaprio himself and multiple insiders who witnessed the filming, the two could not stand each other, and the truth is so shocking because for years fans imagined that they must have shared the same romantic tension off-screen as they did in their roles. But the truth is the complete opposite, and DiCaprio has revealed that working with Claire was one of the most difficult experiences of his career, describing her as uptight, cold, and too serious. While he was just 21 years old at the time, full of youthful energy, playful mischief, and an attitude that thrived on pranks and lightheartedness, yet Claire, only 16 then, was laser-focused on her work, dedicated, mature beyond her years, and unwilling to tolerate Leonardo's constant joking around. And this clash of personalities led to tension so severe that Leonardo has carried the bitterness for decades, only now finally admitting that he truly hated the experience of working with her, and as his words spread, the public was reminded of the countless rumors that circulated during the filming. Reports of Claire storming off set, of her refusing to engage with Leonardo between takes, and even Baz Luhrmann himself was forced to step in at times to keep the fragile balance between his two leads. Because while their on-screen chemistry remains legendary, off-screen, it was a battlefield of silence, glares, and hidden resentment, and Leonardo, now 50 years old, confessed that it shaped how he approached all his future co-stars, teaching him that not all great performances are born from great friendships. Sometimes they are carved out of pure professional necessity. But what makes this story so much more explosive is how Claire Danes herself has spoken in interviews over the years, carefully skirting around the subject, once describing Leonardo as immature and annoying to work with. And though she never explicitly said she hated him, her words revealed just how deep the animosity ran, and fans have now gone back to watch Romeo plus Juliet with fresh eyes, analyzing every glance, every line delivery, wondering how two people who despised each other so much could create such a convincing love story, and in many ways, that became the ultimate irony. Because the very film that launched Leonardo into superstardom also left him with a scar he never forgot, a scar he only chose to expose years later, and this revelation has opened a Pandora's box about Leonardo's career, his other co-stars, and the nature of Hollywood itself, because if such bitterness could be hidden for decades, what else remains concealed behind the golden curtain of fame? And it forces us to look at Leonardo not just as an actor but as a man who has navigated rivalries, betrayals, and disappointments in an industry that feeds on image, because the truth is that DiCaprio has always been meticulous in curating his public persona, avoiding social media, rarely giving interviews, and ensuring that only the polished surface is shown. But this crack in the facade reveals the real man beneath, the one who can carry grudges, who can harbor disdain, and who finally feels old enough, powerful enough, and untouchable enough to admit what he has long concealed, that he truly hated working with Claire Danes. And when we zoom out, the story only grows darker, because while Leonardo soared to fame after Romeo plus Juliet, Claire Danes walked a different path, retreating into smaller projects, disappearing from the limelight for years before returning in Homeland. And many believe the feud with Leonardo contributed to her stepping away from Hollywood at such a young age, unable to bear the toxic rumors and the constant comparisons to her co-star, and Leonardo's silence all these years may have spared her from even more scrutiny. But now that silence is broken, the backlash has reignited, with fans divided between defending Claire as a disciplined young actress who stood her ground, and siding with Leonardo as the free-spirited heartthrob who found himself shackled by a co-star unwilling to play along. And this war of narratives is tearing through social media, with people rehashing old interviews, resurfacing behind-the-scenes footage, and drawing their own conclusions. But one thing is clear: this feud was real, it was bitter, and it has lasted for decades, and Leonardo's admission that he truly hates her is not a passing remark. It is the exhale of decades of frustration, a confession that he had held back while building his empire, starring in Titanic, winning his long-awaited Oscar for The Revenant, and becoming a global ambassador for environmental causes. But even amid all that glory, this ghost from 1996 still haunted him, and now it has finally escaped into the open, changing forever how fans see both him and Claire Danes. Because Romeo plus Juliet is no longer just a tragic love story on screen, it is also the story of two actors who lived their own tragedy behind the scenes. And while Shakespeare wrote of star-crossed lovers torn apart by fate, Hollywood wrote of co-stars torn apart by hate. And as Leonardo's revelation continues to ripple across the industry, it leaves us with one chilling question. If this is what he was willing to admit, what other secrets is Leonardo DiCaprio still keeping? What other truths about his past co-stars, his directors, and his long career remain locked away, waiting for the day when he decides, once again, to pull back the curtain and show the world that behind the glamour of Hollywood lies a world of grudges, betrayals, and confessions that can shatter even the most perfect illusions.